Hello, everybody, and welcome along to episode 44 of the Don Michelle sponsored A View from Section C. Senior, it feels like a long week since the last episode,
I know.
and I've been dying to get this one going.
Yeah, I know you
because we
have.
do have our very special
I know
guest
you
tonight,
have.
so I'm looking
Yeah,
forward to it. But how's your week
yeah.
been?
As you know what, now that you've said it, it does feel long since we done the last show. But
hmm
a week I'm back at work, so the work has went so quick this week. It's ridiculous.
Are you
It's
back on shifts?
absolutely not yet. Not
Not
yet.
yet.
End of January, first week in February, I think we'll be back on earlys and backs. So
Okay.
when I'm on early shift, it'll be in the room that I'm in now, and when I'm on back shift, it'll be in some cosy wee office in Argentina somewhere.
But yeah,
Well,
so
listen,
I know
we'll be okay because you know that my boss is Ryan Buchanan's uncle. So Ryan will
it
just,
is.
yes, Ryan will just need to put a wee quiet word in with Uncle Steve. And Uncle Steve will give it the go ahead that I could sit in a wee cosy office and we'll do a view from Section C live from Argentina, Dundee.
I know, God, that'll be fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, it does seem like a long week. But yeah,
Yep.
I think we just need to get our guest on because,
Yeah.
as I say,
Well,
I've
you've been
been buzzing for
champing at the
this.
bit for this one, boy.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
this was one of my favourite players last season. Obviously you have your Comers, you've got your El Doro Locos, but this guy for me was played a massive part throughout the season, especially in the playoffs. To go into Sheffield and get a shutout.
Yeah.
There was that really did kind of kick us on for that second leg coming back home. So, yep, our special guest is none other than Adam Morrison.
Hello.
Hey,
Adam,
Adam.
how are you?
Good. Thanks for having me on.
No, thank
Well,
you very
welcome.
much for coming on. As I say, I've been wanting this one for a while, since last season. Obviously, we have to wait until the end of the season before we can get players on the show. So I've went through my list and I'm ticking people off saying this is the guys I want on. And Senior has to agree with people to come on the show. He doesn't like certain people coming on shows. He's very
No.
I'm
Senior's very
surprised you let a
opinionated.
goalie on then.
No, not at all. Not at all. There's Junior puts out a lot of messages to
A lot.
ex-players, a lot. And he certainly does have to say, "Oh, I'm going to get him on." Nope. But yeah, but I must admit, there was a few names. So we've had Kyle on, we've had Comer on, and then he messaged me last week and says, "I've got Adam," and I was like, "Yep, without a shadow of a doubt, get him on, get him on."
Well,
Yeah.
I appreciate it, and I appreciate the kind introduction. Well, while you were bringing up those memories, I still get chills thinking about that Sheffield weekend. It was a pretty special experience for the team and the group of guys that we had in that room last year.
Yeah.
And, we had our ups and downs throughout the entire year, but you just kind of knew something was going to come together at the right time because we all we believed in each other.
It just clicked.
Yeah. So it was
a
lot of fun to be a part of.
And Charlie said the same. Kyle said the same. When these guys were on, they said exactly the same. It was what you said. When they think back on that game as well, they get the goosebumps even now thinking about it. And what as a club we achieved that weekend, because really from the offset we were written off. But like for yourself to come out of Sheffield with a shutout and then to finally close the game out in Dundee with that atmosphere was it's the best atmosphere I've seen at a Stars game ever, and we've been there since day one.
Well, and it just seemed to sort of align perfectly. Sheffield was a team that we matched up with really well throughout the season.
Yeah.
And they I wouldn't say that they were any weaker or any stronger than their, the previous team that I played against in Sheffield, and it just, like you see in the playoffs in every sport, you get the opportunity, you get the opportunity to rise to the occasion and be a part of something special.
Yeah. So we'll come more into that further on, but we were kind of joking there about Senior. Obviously, he's a bit hesitant with certain players coming on the show, and you nearly never made it, Adam.
It came down to the last minute, Adam. Because the game notes that Junior gave me, and there's a reason why I'm wearing a Pittsburgh Penguins sweatshirt. It says, we'll start off by discussing with Adam being drafted by Philadelphia Flyers.
Yeah.
That was nearly you were nearly gone at that point, buddy.
I thought about wearing my jersey.
So third round.
It would be really unfair because we've had Nick Ryapel on, and Nick was drafted by Flyers as well.
Yeah.
So
we were actually in the same draft year.
Yeah.
Nick and I.
Yeah. So it was. I was going through that draft year before we came on. So third round, number 81 overall, and some of the names in that draft year of even looking at the top 7 players, you've got Tavares, Hedman, Duchesne, Kane, Ekman Larsson, Kadri. It's some of the names in that year is unreal, absolutely unreal. And then you look at some of the names that are drafted later in that year. Like I said to my dad, it's Cody Eakin and David Savard and stuff, and you think, God, these are guys that are still playing NHL now. It was such a big year to be drafted in. Did you how? You're obviously you were you were going to be in the draft. Did you expect to go when you did? Did you think it was going to be a lot lower, a lot higher? Was it?
I wasn't actually expecting to get drafted.
Okay.
I was ranked on the Central Scouting list, but I didn't play. I only played 13 games that year. I played behind Braden Holtby, so he was kind of a workhorse. So
just a little guy.
Yeah. Yeah, he was. He carried our team that year. So so I wasn't necessarily expecting to, be drafted, let alone as high as I was. And my goalie coach that year, we would joke about trying to simplify our game and just calm everything down in the net. And our motto was less is more. And sure enough, on draft day, when I found out that I was drafted, he called me and he said, "Yeah, I told you, less is more. The less games you play, the higher you get drafted." So it's it all, again, one of those situations that things just kind of came together. We had a very solid team that year in Saskatoon. We weren't supposed to achieve what we achieved, and we surprised a lot of teams in the Western League that year, especially in the Eastern Conference, and then ran into a pretty strong Lethbridge team with Dwight King, Zach Boychuk, Kyle Beach, and a couple of other Luke Spiza. So big names on that team, and they kind of just snuck into the playoffs, and they were coming off a year where they went to the conference final and had a little bit more experience than we did, and managed to grind it out in 7 games. So, but back to the draft, it was pretty, it was pretty special. Again, I wasn't necessarily expecting to go as high or even go in the draft, and to be selected by an organization like Philadelphia, by far the best organization in Pennsylvania. But
That was just rude.
No, you can't say that anymore. I guess no. I think they take the cake with the cups, but yeah, no, it was a great experience for myself.
Yeah. And obviously there is this little connection, and we don't like to bring up this team on our podcast other than when we're reviewing and previewing games, but there is a Flyers theme with yourself, and that you ended up in Fife. We're going to say it because it's a Stars podcast, the shithole that it is. And again, for yourself, Adam, my wife's a Fifer, unfortunately, so I get away with saying it now. But yeah, you ended up in Fife. How did the move to Fife come about? Obviously, you'd only ever kind of really played ECHL, AHL. So how did it come about coming over to the UK for the first time?
So I kind of run into injury troubles throughout my career. It just seemed to be a big a string of bad luck, a few high ankle sprains, sports hernia, hip issues early in my career. So it's I was kind of getting to the point where I had spent enough time trying to climb the ladder in North America, and for a goaltender, it's very unique because you look at all three levels, from the NHL, AHL, East Coast Hockey League. Like there's a lot of very talented goalies playing at each level, and and there's only one net on each team.
Yeah.
So you kind of have to. It's a bit of a battle of attrition. You got to stay healthy, perform well, and get the right opportunity, and when you get that opportunity, you got to run with it. So for me, I was, I felt like I needed a change of scenery. I needed a fresh start, and kind of get back to treating hockey as a game again. It started to it definitely felt like a business, and that was starting to kind of wear me down a little bit. And so that summer, I had a couple of one offer that actually fell through in Slovakia, and then Fife had reached out to my agent and brought up the idea of going to school. So that for me, that was kind of the big ticket item was getting the opportunity to get an education and continue to play. When I went over there my first year, I was, I had the idea that, I would finish my degree and then, barring health and my body still capable, maybe transfer over to mainland Europe and spend a few years kind of bouncing around there. But so really it just kind of came about sort of last minute. I think I signed maybe 2 or 3 weeks before training camp started. So it was very late, but I'll forever be grateful to Todd and Tom and Hutchie down there, just solely for the opportunity to get myself an education and continue to play hockey.
Yeah. There's more and more of that happening now, isn't there, over here? There's always for guys that are wanting to come into Europe. Certainly it's happening in Dundee a lot because of the Stars link with the uni. That there's always that pool for individuals that they could continue this education.
For sure.
It must be a big thing for players, Adam. I've never been at that level where that you
were
could
close.
go and play out. I was close, but you could go and play elsewhere. But you just back in my day when playing basketball, there was never this sort of pool of further education. To make your mind up on where you were going to go and play. It was here's what you're getting offered, take it or leave it. Yet guys like yourself Justin Farina was another one. When he came to Dundee, there was always the uni deal. Doro got the uni deal and everything. So, yeah, it must be a big thing. It must be a big pool.
Absolutely.
For players.
I mean, especially for somebody like myself who went straight from major junior into professional hockey. You know, I had my high school degree or diploma, and that was it. So, you know, when you're grinding it out in the minors and you've made enough money to sort of, you know, get by year to year, but you don't have anything in the pipeline for, you know, the next 10 years once you stop playing. So, you know, it was really important for me and my family to, you know, get the opportunity to continue playing and get some sort of retirement plan in place. And
it was something that Hasse said as well when I think he accidentally announced his retirement on the podcast, and he wasn't going to any teams. And it was I'm still waiting to see what happens if I get kept on in September. But it is a short career. As much as, you know, guys can still go to 40, even look at Jagger still going at 50 odd, but it is a short career. And then what do you do after it? If you've not had anything to kind of do as you like yourself going on and getting that uni deal. Obviously you're back over in Dundee just now, finishing off school and stuff. So it just goes to show that these opportunities that clubs are able to bring in, it really does bring in a good selection of players as well, because it is guys who are good players that are thinking about later life.
No, for sure. And I think it's, you know, like you said, like you have a certain window of opportunity to play the sport and sort of get what you can out of it in a very short window. And you know, for all of us, we've been chasing and working towards playing professional hockey since we were, you know, 6-7 years old. So we've all, I shouldn't say all of us, but, you know, it's a very narrow view of the world. You don't get exposed to, you know, a lot of other aspects of life that, you know, might be of interest to you or of interest to somebody who, you know, hasn't been exposed to it for
so you had one bad year playing with the Flyers. Personally, stats wise, it was a decent year, but you had a bad year because you were in Fife.
That was the only thing, because he used to stand on his head in Dundee every time he came up playing for Fife.
Every bloody time.
I know. I love playing in that away net.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then came COVID, and we had, obviously we didn't end the season. We then had a year without hockey. What did you do within that year?
So I played around with a couple of options with other teams in Europe, but you know, just with university going online and you know, it wasn't the right fit for me to go and sort of be stuck somewhere. I shouldn't say stuck. Well, yeah, would have been stuck in a couple of places because they had pretty strict, you know. So, you know, I felt it was, you know, better to take a step back and focus on the university. I did some coaching. You know, coached some minor hockey in Kelowna and you know, just started to explore other avenues because I knew, you know, that I was sort of winding down my career. And, you know, I didn't think that not playing the COVID year was going to, you know, derail any opportunity of playing the following year, given the circumstances. But you know, I just kind of took it as an opportunity to collect some data on other things that I might be interested in trying.
Yeah. And then obviously we start to kind of open back up. And then you saw the light. You crossed the bridge.
Yeah.
You came to Dundee. We see that about many a Fife player that comes over. Eric Naslin's now saw the light and came over. But yeah, how did the move to Dundee come about? Obviously, was it just Pash had reached out directly, or was it just you were floating kind of around some ideas to teams in the league?
I mean, throughout the COVID break, I kept in touch with Todd in Fife quite closely, and my intention was to return to finish my degree and play for them for the next 2 seasons, and as in hockey's a business. They felt they needed to go in a different direction and bring Shane back in, and he's a phenomenal goaltender. So it's not really, I don't think I can't look at that and be upset that or feel like, oh, I deserve the spot more. It just is one of those circumstances where they had an opportunity to bring somebody who they have a good relationship with and has a good track record in Fife. And so the Todd and I had been speaking over the summer, and then, things kind of went quiet, and that's usually the telltale sign of, of an organization moving in a different direction. So, again, it was pretty late. I think it was, maybe coming up on the beginning of August. And so I reached out to Posh. He called me that afternoon, and we chatted for an hour and a half, and they sent me over a contract the next day. So it all worked out in the end. It was definitely better for me personally, because it provided me with the opportunity to not have to commute to university, because that was a bit of a grind. I was playing in Fife, driving up and down 3 times a week, and then get back for practice or training. So it was, everything kind of worked out how it
worked out kind of good for you. And the A92 is not the best of roads to be driving up and down a lot over weeks.
Well, at least when I was there, we had nice vehicles to cruise up and down. So so you can't complain too much when you got a brand new Mercedes to drive up and down the road.
So coming into Dundee, how did you feel that you kind of started off? We ended up having a bit of a break come around. I think it was around the Christmas period when COVID kind of kicked off again, and we had rules put in place, and we had to postpone games. We had the COVID protocols, but before that, we got ourselves on a great run right before the COVID protocols. It was the worst time possible for us to get back.
Oh, for sure. I think to this day, the only disappointment from last season, apart from our performance in the semifinal game, was the fact that we had that momentum going into Cardiff, that challenge, the second leg of the Challenge Cup, and to get all the way down there, you're prepared. Everybody's confident in their responsibilities and their roles that they're adapting to, and then an hour before puck drop, the game gets shut down. So it was, that was tough, because you knew that it was knew 2 things, that it was gonna sort of disrupt the rhythm that the team was in, but it was also gonna, Cardiff at that time was struggling. I don't remember if they had injuries or they were just kind of struggling to find an identity, and you knew that they would make changes, but
Yep.
you also looked at the team that they had, and you knew that they just needed some time to kind of gel a little bit.
That's right.
Yeah, and we were in
we've
fight
mentioned,
mode.
Yeah, we were.
Even the fans were in fight mode. We threw bottles at McNally and fans were offering him a fight down at the Plexi.
That was a good night. That was a good night.
I haven't seen that in my the many years that I've played.
Yeah.
I don't think a lot of us had saw that over the years.
Certainly not in Dundee, that's for sure.
But I don't know I don't know if I'd want to step up and fight him. He, on skates, he's a bit of a monster.
Yeah,
I think he likes that.
That's, what, Adam, after it happened, people had said that, whatever the reason for the guy doing it, he done it. But everybody knew that if McNally had got a hold of him, it was not ending good.
No.
The only way to describe it is he would have got the shit kicked out of him.
Yeah, that's
the only way.
And that might actually be the politically correct way to say it. That's just there's no other way to say it.
And then, but like what Junior said, and we've spoke with Charlie, we've spoke with Kyle. The Christmas break for us was an absolute killer for us.
Yeah.
Because up until that point, when we got on that run, I couldn't see anybody beating us. Nobody. I think everybody, as you say, everybody knew their roles, everybody knew the systems, the fans knew it. Didn't matter who we were playing. Everybody was confident we were winning games. And then Christmas came, we shut down again, and it was like somebody had flicked the switch.
Yeah. Well, and we
struggled to come back.
Yeah, you saw it with our conditioning when we came back. Like, it was, we could do a little bit, but most of us, like I ended up getting COVID, right after the Cardiff game. So I tested positive when I got back to Dundee, and I got sick, and symptoms weren't enjoyable. It was about 10 days of, today I've got a sinus infection. The next day I've got a cough. The next day I'm high fever. So it was, that kind of took a little bit out of me. And then, I noticed for myself that it took me close to a month to kind of get my heart rate back to where it felt comfortable. It felt quite, quite difficult to get my conditioning back. I'm not sure if that's just a sort of side effect of getting the illness, but it definitely, but I think the biggest thing is that it when that happens, I think there was a lot of concern whether the league itself was going to carry on and finish out the year.
I think there was only three. I think there was only three teams weren't in protocols at the time. It was 3 or 4 teams. There were like 6 teams in protocol. And you're like, how can you keep going with that?
And sometimes teams were coming out of protocol, and then other teams were going into protocol.
Yeah, it was just one big.
And sort of, even from a coaching perspective, the Pasha would have had strategies all made out based on the fixture list that he had. And then what happens is we're maybe, for example, we're maybe meant to be playing Coventry, so he's got a strategy, and then it's Coventry are in protocol, but what we'll do is we'll play Manchester, but we have to travel to Manchester and things like that. The whole schedule was just blown apart. Yeah.
No, it was it was a very complicated process to get everything kind of back and moving again after the break. But they managed to figure out a way to keep everybody afloat, and I think that was a feat to itself, just from the entire league coming together and working together to kind of keep the engine oiled up and
Yeah.
moving forward. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then we kind of progressed to COVID. We had obviously our 200 games, which was an experience for everyone to play in, to sit and watch. And then you yourself got quite a pretty nasty injury. Now, obviously, as fans, we still never know what the injuries are. Obviously, clubs won't say at the time, so that other teams don't gain the advantage of knowing. But obviously, there was an injury that kept you for quite a while, and obviously, Priester had to come in and kind of hold the fort. And that at that point, obviously speaking kind of about Britton here, what a performance he put in to keep going with yourself out injured, and kind of for him no real backup if he either one had a stinker or if he got injured. But I heard that there's you're a big fan of mustard. I was told to ask about mustard tonight.
So, yeah.
And that person will remain nameless.
Yeah, I know.
I think we
I
know
who your source is.
But we were told to ask about mustard and potential injuries and stuff.
Yeah.
What is the mustard story?
So the mustard is you take it when you're cramping.
Okay.
I don't enjoy it. Now your source thinks that I just enjoy spoonfuls of mustard. No, I think we should probably do a little bit of a background dig into, how reliable your source is, whether they're qualified to make these claims. No, the mustard was just a tip that I picked up kind of along the way when I was playing in South Carolina. Pickle juice, something with high acidity, high sugar content. It is, the theory is that it'll delay cramping a little bit.
Okay.
So when I would start to cramp on the ice, you just take a shot of mustard or a spoonful of mustard. The worst part is your mouth is so dry from being a little bit dehydrated that it turns to like a paste, and then you're just it's not a fun experience. I wouldn't recommend it if there are alternatives out there, but I found that it worked from time.
Well, Senior suffers from cramping a lot. If you ever spoke to my mum, the noise he creates in the middle of the night when he gets a cramp in bed. So Senior, I think you need to get some mustard sitting at the side of the bed for cramping.
That's one way to kill romance, is have a jar of mustard next to you.
Somehow I don't think I'll be able to take jars of mustard into the bedroom.
Moving swiftly on. But yeah, the end of that season, when we came in, we were fighting for, I think there were so many of us fighting for 6th and 5th place right up until the second last and last weekend of the season. Everyone could have finished everywhere. We were in Coventry last game of the season. I really didn't want to bring it up, Adam, but there was a bit of a bouncer of a goal went through you. What happened in the game? If you can remember.
Yeah, no, I remember that goal. It was, it was kind of a broken play from, I can't remember if it was a rush or kind of like a turnover at the blue line. And, there was traffic that was sort of providing a moving screen. So I was trying to find a lane. I actually didn't see, I saw the guy who had the puck, I saw his stick up in the air on his follow through, but I knew he was on his backhand. So I was trying to search for where the puck was going to or who it was going to. So I had assumed he had made a pass, and then, out of nowhere, I see this little black dot with a giant middle finger going between my legs.
We had one very similar last weekend against Belfast, where I think the guy was at the halfway line, and he's just fired it in. I said it at the time. I said it at the time, Senior, and I have had it confirmed it did hit Garrigan's wrist. But it's going cross ice, dumped to the corner, and it's came off Gary's wrist, and it's just bounced through.
It's like it's bounced on its edge.
Yeah, it's horrible.
And then
horrible.
It's just taken off in the other direction.
Yeah.
And right at the last minute, you see Svensson trying to catch it.
Yeah.
But by that time, the red light's on.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, as you know, we sit right behind the away bench.
Yeah.
And the Belfast backup, it was Jackson played.
Yeah.
And it was the guy Jones. It was the backup that night, Peyton Jones. So he looks at the iPad. And then what made it worse was he just burst out laughing.
Yeah. No, it's probably more, that's probably PTSD. He's probably had a few of those going on.
Yeah, possibly.
Yeah.
That's his coping. He's got to laugh it off. But I mean, it was, it was just one of those goals that, unfortunately, given the magnitude of the game, you can't really give it up.
Yeah.
And you can't give it up at that point in the game.
Yeah.
And,
the good thing was Charlie, when Charlie was on, he was saying that you know, obviously we watched the game on the webcast, and there was sometimes you absolutely bailed out the defense in that game. Throughout the season, you'd bailed them out in games and stuff. And then obviously you look at going into the playoffs, which we'll come on to, and getting a shutout in Sheffield. You had your games, you had your moments where you were absolutely phenomenal. And Charlie was saying that okay, that one's went through. Should it go through? Probably not, but we need to help try and bail Mo out here. And that was when you start to, we don't, as fans, we don't see that at the time. It's not until you speak to guys after it, you realise that last year's team, every single person had each other's back.
Yeah.
Which was great to see. We see guys on the ice, they're close, we see your teammates, but you don't actually know how much of their back you've got. And then to go on and Charlie do Charlie things and get in overtime winner and
what did he have?
And
3 or 4 that game?
I think it was 4.
Yeah, but I thought it was 3. I thought he scored.
It was either 3 or 4. I think he did. He should have had 4.
Yeah,
but the
he got one
ruled out for goalie.
He got one ruled out.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
But yeah,
just to make it fair for everyone else.
Yeah, that's all it was.
But yeah, we'll go into it. The Sheffield game down there, a 1-0 win. We're sitting there watching it on webcasts, people following it on Twitter, and it's sitting at 0-0 in Sheffield in a playoff game, and you're thinking, we're the small fish here, and how are we still at 0-0 right now? And then Sebi pops up with the goal a couple of minutes from time to come back 1-0. What was the bus ride back like?
It was pretty even keeled, actually.
I
remember coming into the room. I can't even remember. I don't even know if we played our win song because we knew the job wasn't done. Yeah, we were happy with that performance, and that's kind of, in any road game in the playoffs, like that's what you kind of have to do. You're aiming to steal points rather than going with the mentality that you're going to win. You just try and hit the ball back. You play tennis. For me, I've always pictured goaltending as a tennis match where I'm just kind of hitting the ball back, and I'm rather than trying to smash it back to my opponent, just let him make the mistake.
Yeah.
So we knew, we were happy with the result. We were happy. I think it gave us some confidence knowing that we belonged there. Like you said, we were the lower seed, so or higher seed, sorry. So we needed that sort of sort of reassurance to know that we belonged there and
Mm-hmm.
that we were capable of competing with that team, and also not being intimidated given the stage of
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
season.
Yeah. And to come back up the road, you know, we'll do a David Sims here. It's a long journey back up to Dundee after being in Sheffield. As he gives the excuse every single season, it's a long journey back up Scotland. To come back up the road, 1-0 up, and then to go 3-0 down halfway through the second. I said it when we spoke with Charlie. I said, I'm thinking here, I think this is, I think this is it now. I think, the higher seed team, the guys that are, should be winning, leagues and cups, they've now finally took kind of a foothold of the game now. That's them got their hand on it. What was your thoughts? We scored that goal right before the end of the second period. Charlie said that, we're just kind of all reassuring each other in the changing room. But, from a goalie's point of view, what's your thought process going through of, we're 3-1 down, we're still in it with a goal, but it's a good team we're playing against.
Yeah, I mean, I think, thinking back to the goals they scored in that game, I know the one was a breakaway. You knew that Sheffield was going to push back, and they did. They responded, but like I said, we knew from the night before, we knew from the 6 weeks leading up to that game that we were capable of producing offensively. I would say that wasn't an issue for us last year. That was never, early in the year we struggled to score, but after guys kind of found their legs, that was probably our identity. It was our ability to sort of score at will. And, we are and in order to do that, you sometimes sacrifice your defensive end a little bit. So we knew we had the firepower, and for me it was again, I can't recall all three goals, but there wasn't really anything that I felt I would do differently, and in that situation, numbers and stats, those aren't important. And the important thing is just giving the guys in front of you an opportunity to win.
Yeah.
So that was just kind of just kind of keep trying to hit the ball back. Brock was playing well at the other end, and he had a strong season and had the ability to steal a game. So you didn't know whether or not he was going to sort of hold the fort, or whether the pressure would get to him.
I think the pressure got to Sheffield when we got that goal just before the end of the period, and it made it 3-1, which actually made it 3-2 on aggregate. We all said it. It was like Nick's goal is going to be the winner, because even us going in 3-2 down, we've actually levelled the tie. But we then get that goal, and then after that, for me, it was just one-way traffic. One-way traffic. Sheffield could not, and for as big a club and the players that they had last season, they could not cope with the pressure. They just folded.
I'm still gonna put out an assist here to Pavel Halas for trying to get his helmet fixed after we scored. I think it was to tie the game at 3-3 in aggregate. His helmet wasn't fixed, and Dean then played Pump It Up. I kept the drum going. Everyone then got on their feet, and the game's just stopped, and everyone's getting louder and louder. And I think we need to give Pavel a little assist there. As much as we criticise him and fans don't like him for being a ref, I think we need to give Pavel a little assist here.
Well, they take a lot of abuse, but don't say that too loudly. We got to keep them humble.
Yeah, definitely. But to eventually win the game, I honestly thought you were going to shoot the puck for the empty netter.
No, God.
The puck came to you, and I thought, Bo's going to shoot this.
Yeah.
Shoot it. And then I think you palmed it off to the side of the goal, and that would have been the icing on the cake, a goalie goal.
Yeah, that would have been a nice way to a nice cherry on top. But
but
no, given the the circumstances of the game, I felt that was probably better to give it to somebody with a little bit better hands, a little more confidence in their shot.
Yeah. I still don't think he got an assist on that goal, and I was still arguing with the league about it after it. I was like,
I sent the tape in.
Point, please.
Yeah.
But yeah, a great weekend overall. 2 wins against one of the best teams in the league, and then as you said, the performance in Nottingham. We won't dwell on it too much. I think we all know it wasn't to be. I think with everything that happened, I think we run our course.
Yeah. Well, I think the two teams that I felt were the most dangerous last season were, definitely Belfast. Like Belfast was clearly above everybody in the league.
Yep.
Top to bottom, and the other team was Guildford. So, Guildford just seemed to have a lot of skill. Similar to us, not super strong defensively, but somehow, they could, get you into a bit of a running gun and fill the net. So, I mean, it was disappointing. I think it wasn't the fact that we lost; it was that we didn't give ourselves a chance. I think after the first period, we were still kind of there. We had the opportunity. I think it was 1-0. We knew we had the capability to score on, but I think Belfast, they were prepared. They had the experience. They had the depth, and it showed the second they stepped out on the second period.
Yeah, totally agree. And to this day, I've still said it. The guy that killed us that day was Mark Cooper.
Yeah,
the guy had 3 plus
every season.
3 plus 1, and I think he only touched the puck 4 times during that game.
Yeah, no,
yeah,
Coops,
and he still does it. He still does it against us.
Yeah, he's a very cerebral hockey player. Like he knows exactly where to be. He reads the game really well. He's got a good skill set, and he's a big body. So you combine all those things, and
and
pretty special player.
And you're absolutely right. Belfast, they're always challenging. They know what it takes to win championships. They know what it takes to win playoffs. And I think it was just experience. I think their experience over our inexperience, that was it. We had a couple of chances early on. They didn't go in. And then once they got the lead, it was always going to be difficult because we would have to open up.
Yeah.
And then once you open up against a team like that, then they fly.
They're going to make it.
And we've spoken about it umpteen times, Junior. When teams are up against Conway, Goodwin, Pickenich, difficult. Really difficult.
Yeah. But one thing I wanted to discuss with you is, we've spoken about it before. We had a chat last season on social media about social media. Now, obviously, we'll remain anonymous. I've had a thing sent in from a fan who knew you were coming on the show, and obviously, you kind of spoke with his little girl about bullying and stuff. I think believes she was getting bullied a little bit. But the negativity kind of online now, I think, you'll read social media. You would have known at times that you were under fire a lot, and some of the criticism was, in my view, very unwarranted. And in this season, we've seen it again this season that players, you can say, we sat on this podcast last year, Adam, and we did say at times, I think Mo would have wanted that one back. There are a couple that Mo would have wanted back, but you would never go on social media and tag guys in posts and say they're absolutely shit. I hope they get rid of you. And that's happened this year at times. People have properly called players out and said they need to get rid of them. Now you can have your opinions on players. We've always said that you can have your opinion on players, and if you don't think they're great, you can say that to your friends. But to tag guys in it and stuff is a bit far for me. You were targeted quite a bit. How much of a detriment does that put on your game and on your focus?
Well, I think I think last year I noticed it more. It had a bit more of an effect because we couldn't interact with the fans, so we couldn't actually get to know, who was out there, and get to know the larger majority who weren't calling us, weren't calling for our heads every week. But and I think that's a bit of the issue with social media is it magnifies negativity, and it provides a platform to spread that negativity without first considering the consequences of it, and because more often than not, if you're unhappy with somebody and you see them in person, you're not going to go up to them and say, "Oh, you should be fired." You're gonna find a way, an adaptive way to speak to them and say, like, you're probably going to ask, "Is everything okay?" Or how can we make this work, because I'm tired of this situation. And I think that's, I think last year, just given that we couldn't interact the way that you traditionally would with the fans, it probably magnified it a little bit. But as far as fan expectations, speaking for myself, like, I didn't care what my numbers were. I just wanted to win. I had a strong enough resume in terms of statistics from North America and my time in Fife to know that getting a job isn't going to be the issue. It's I no longer want to concern myself with next year's job. I want to win, and and I think it's so for me, whether it was a good goal or a bad goal, the message to myself was always, well, just can you bear down here for the next 15, 20 minutes and give these guys a chance, because you do that long enough, you make one timely save, a key save in the last 10 minutes, and you go down and score 2 goals and you win the game. So so I think and the little girl who was having the issues with bullying, I think it's a lot harder on kids than anybody now, because not to age us, but back in our day, you'd get picked on the playground, and then you'd go home and you'd be done for the day. You didn't have to face your bullies at home. Whereas now with social media, it's 24/7.
It's 24/7.
You don't escape it, and when you're dealing with individuals who are that age, and they're going through a lot of changes, physically, psychologically, and cognitively, and it really magnifies. Those things are magnified, and it's sad that we're it's sad to see somebody struggling with situations like that, because it does dampen their spirit. It does cause them to withdraw from activities that they enjoy, and God forbid there's a point where they no longer want to.
They can take it,
live.
And I think I think it's great. Like, and it was only earlier today that Junior had mentioned to me about that, and I think it's fantastic what you did to do that, because young kids look up to yourself. They look up to, like, any sports person.
Mm-hmm.
Young fans will always look up to them, regardless of what level you play at.
Mm-hmm.
You could be in the Elite League, you could be in the NHL. Young fans will always look up to you as being their special player.
Mm-hmm.
So I take my hat off to you for doing that, because you could have just left it, and it's and say, well, it's nothing to do with me,
Mm-hmm.
But
well, it's you have a responsibility as a somebody that is a role model, and especially for kids, and for my career, all the teams that I've played on, we've always had very strong support clubs and booster clubs and support groups. So, you get to connect with the fans, and that's part of what makes playing the sport at a professional level and for a living so special is the impact you can see. I can't count how many times I've come across fans who probably don't have the most disposable income in the world, and they spend their hard-earned money to come and support you, and that's what brings them joy. So there's really no point getting caught up concerning yourself with the negativity, because it doesn't matter where you go in life, you're going to be faced with negative people or negative comments. So I think me just focusing on connections I'm able to make through the sport, and hopefully have a positive impact at somebody.
And the parent that messaged me, he wanted me again to thank you on this for what you did. My wife's little brother, so my brother-in-law Spencer, he absolutely loved you when you were at Fife. Unfortunately, they are Flyers fans, so that always is a good family union get together when there's Stars Fife on that weekend. But Spencer absolutely loved you as well. And it, like my dad says, it's no matter what level you're at, it could even be SNL. And, the amateur, I say amateur, but the amateur leagues, that people look up to them as well. But to wrap it up, we will ask you for your final message to Stars fans. But firstly, what is the future for Adam Morrison now? Is this it?
For hockey, yes.
Yes.
Yeah. I had made up my mind on the bus ride home, actually, from Nottingham. It was it was amazing to go on that run and be a part of that group. And I saw, obviously with the changes of the guard, with Posh moving on and new coach coming in. I didn't want to go play anywhere else in the league. I wanted to be close to the university. And the other thing was, at the end of every season, I've always felt the sort of desire to get right back into the gym and start training and just focus on the next season. And, for me, that wasn't something on the bus ride home, I didn't feel like I was ready to do. And then a couple weeks later, same feeling. Didn't have it in me to put the work that's required to be, at the top of my game. And I think, I was more interested in putting that time and effort into my studies and shifting gears and trying to find something, away from hockey. And I think, I still struggle with that, trying to figure what my next move is. I started this degree with the intention that it would provide me with a bit of a career path, and as a psych student, I was hoping for free counseling, but that didn't work. Just seemed to screw my head up even more.
But I'm just glad you were saying that you didn't say though that it was anything to do with age, that you felt that was the time, because we're the same age.
Yeah.
So if you were going to come out and say, I'm getting older, I was waiting to say, no, we're not old yet, Adam. Yeah. Okay.
I think my hips might be a few years older than I might be working with an 80-year-old's hip over here. So and then you pair in the the concussion that I suffered last year. It was just I wasn't concerned about suffering another concussion or getting injured again. It was just it felt like it was starting to disrupt my future trajectory in terms of what I wanted to accomplish at university, and the other side piece is coming over here to play and go to school. Like it's a lot of time committed to both practices and both disciplines, and I really wanted to see Europe a little bit, see Scotland. You don't get that opportunity in the elite league, because the schedule is right from the get-go. You're playing every weekend. Yeah, you don't have international breaks. So I just had other things I was ready to start kind of ticking off the bucket list, and
definitely
felt like that run, the team that we had, the bonds in that room, and what we accomplished was, that to me, that was a good way to go out.
And there's always a spare seat next to me at the rink if you want to go to the games. The seat is unoccupied.
Do I just need to bring some earplugs for the drum, or is it?
It's the drums.
The drums moved section.
Oh,
the drum has moved on. Yeah,
however,
the young team have taken the drum, but there is now a petition to get the drum back.
Yeah.
However, the drum is back tomorrow.
Okay.
Oh.
So there's a view from Section C exclusive. The drum is meant to be coming back to Section C tomorrow. So we'll see.
I'll probably try and make it out to a few more games here in the second half here. I went to 2 at the start of the year, and still wasn't ready to sit and watch. You still get the feeling that you can play and you want to play, but
listen.
Tell me about it, Adam. I'm 57 and think I can still play.
Yeah.
But listen, if you want to come back and play, I think a lot of fans would have you back.
Yeah,
definitely.
I appreciate that.
Definitely
would. But final message from you for all Stars fans listening, and maybe we know we do get some Flyers fans listening in. So, final message from you.
Just thank you for 2 incredible years, and for Stars fans, it was such an honor to play in front of all of you for the season, and be a part of that run, and see everybody rally behind the team. When we really needed it, and I love Scotland. I've really grown to enjoy Dundee, and I'm just thrilled that I have the opportunity enjoy the culture and experience life over here, a pint or two.
Yeah.
No, that's great. But no, we really appreciate you coming on, Adam.
Thank you.
As I say, one of the guys I really wanted on right at the end of the season. I absolutely loved watching you last season. I thought you were one of the better netminders we've had over the years. We've had some horrors especially at the start of our Elite League seasons. But yeah, no, it was a joy to watch you last season. And again, like you say, we did have some interaction with fans, where we could, even the big celebration dinner, for the 20 years, was it? 20 years, wasn't it?
Yeah, 20 years celebration.
So so having that as well, so that was good. But yeah, thank you for having the time to come on. I know you're itching to get packed as well, for a little travel. But
I appreciate you guys inviting me on.
No, again, thank you for coming on, and we'll let you disappear and crack on with what you need to do. But again, thank you so much for coming on.
Okay, Adam, thank you.
Take care, guys.
Cheers. Okay, see you after. Cheers.
So that is Adam Morrison.
With a podcast exclusive.
Yeah. What, the drum or retirement?
Retirement. Because he'd never announced it before. He'd never said. We probably assumed that because no one had picked him up, we thought, that's through Adam's choice and not through team's choice, because he would have picked up a gig someplace. But yeah, we heard it here first. That was him saying it. Yeah, that's it.
I really hope that this isn't becoming a retirement podcast.
Oh, God.
That's more fantastic now.
Right, stop. Don't bring anybody else on. Gee whiz, the retirement podcast. Haas announces it. Adam announces it. However, you know what? Someone tells me this might just be a sabbatical.
You hope.
Well, as you say, Adam's only he's the same age as you.
I know.
So,
and I'm young.
Yeah. So the season starts. What age are you this year?
32.
There you go. So when the season starts in September, Mo's only 32.
Yeah. So let's move on, Senior. Because you are completely overrunning the show this time.
No,
I'm only kidding. We are overrunning. So the 51 Club sponsored game review. So we had the Belfast Giants home and home games. So we went to Belfast on the 6th of January. We lost the game by 5-2. So Johan Eriksson, assisted by Semyonov and Leidsman at 3:14, gave the Stars 1 the lead. We doubled the lead on the power play by Dryden Dow, assisted by Barriga and Songe at 15:50. Stephen Ogre, however he wants to say it, at 18:48, gave the Stars a 2-1 lead end of the first period. Derek Angeli, the one who's just left, scored at 33:58 to tie it at the end of the second period. And then quick fire goal, the start of the third, 41-42 by Lewis Hook. Our with his I don't even know how you say it.
I think it's Stephen
Orr with his second on the power play at 45-16. And then an empty net goal by Will Cullen at 58-57. Senior, we spoke about it last week. We weren't really expecting, too much from
no, not really
in Belfast.
Not really. Yeah.
But I think fans are quite disappointed with the manner and the defeat because we were 2-0 up.
Yeah. I think the colours the goal right before the end of the period, isn't it?
Yeah.
You're 2-0 up, and then it's 2-1. They've got their tails up.
Yep.
And then.
And even then, it's only 2-all. It's even 2-all into the second.
Yeah.
And then again, we see concentration levels.
I know.
Right at the start of the third.
2 goals in 5 minutes, right at the start. Game's over, eh?
Yeah. So we didn't expect much from the game.
No. you know what? Some of the fans were like, they played well, they done okay. Anton played really well, and then some other fans were saying that they never played well, and
still soft goals and
it's stuff like that. And it's a 5-2 defeat. It's no a humping. Put it that
it's
way.
no a pumping. No, exactly.
And then you're thinking, what's going to happen the next night? I must admit, I probably thought it was going to be more of the same.
Yeah. Well, as I said, I think I put it on the Star supporters page under somebody's comment. I was more concerned that Fife went to Belfast the weekend before and gave them a good game. It was close. I think Belfast only won 2-1 or something like 3-2 or something. And then they came to Fife and absolutely pumped them.
Yeah.
And I was concerned for the same. But coming into the game, it was only a 3-2 win for the Belfast Giants in overtime. So starts off to a quick fire goal after 2:03. Ryan Verrier, assisted by Barriga and Songe. 2:03. Will Cullen, we spoke about this with Mo, a very awkward goal at 43-48. A dump in, which it did take a deflection off Craig Garrigan's wrist. If you do watch the highlights back, you do see it taking that awkward change angle. A good response from us, though, after the goal. 55-55. Elijah Barriga, assisted by Nasland and again by Songe. And or at 57-56. Couple minutes to go. Absolute killer.
Definitely.
64-10. Not long left in overtime. Lewis Hook gets a breakaway and gives them the 3-2 win. And I've just noticed there that Jackson got an assist on that winner.
Yeah. Well, so and then again, if you see the goal, right, the winning goal, Jackson makes a fantastic kick save. I think it's for Barriga. I think Barriga's got the puck and he fires it in really, really low.
Yeah.
And Jackson kicks it out that hard that because Barriga's skating backwards, he can't get his balance to get a hold of the puck again. And that's how they end up with the 2-on-1 with the goalie. It all comes. It's no a pass. It's just Barriga's shot has went in that hard, and Jackson has kicked it out that far that it's allowed them to break. But for me, the killer, the daft goal that they got, we'll call it that, a daft goal. But we come back and we go 2-1 up. Can't close the game out.
No.
Can't close.
No. I think,
just
though,
shut up shop.
I think, see what, though, like, as much as I was annoyed that we didn't close the game out, because Adam Keefe said it, they didn't play a great game. I actually thought that's one of the poorest Belfast performances I've ever seen in Dundee. I thought they were really poor.
I'm going to say they were poor.
But I also think we didn't allow them to play.
Correct.
But yeah,
definitely. That's what I was going to say.
Yeah, it's one of the poorest performances I've seen for them. But not to close it out, considering how poor they were, but to see us fight the way we did, stick up for each other, grind, forecheck, back check.
Definitely.
There's still defensive mistakes. And I think we all know, and Mo's actually just said it there about last season's team. They knew defensively they weren't that great.
Yeah.
They did a job, though.
Yeah.
I think there's going to be defensive mistakes throughout the rest of this season. I think we know that. But it's how they act as one unit. And I thought Big Streaky was amazing again.
I would say, and the games that I've seen this season, right, I would say that's the most complete performance we've put in for 60 minutes.
Yeah, I'd said that to someone on Tuesday. It's the first time I think we have competed for the full 60.
Yeah.
Forget overtime. It was the full 60. We'd completed 5-on-4, 5-on-5 on the ice. We competed every opportunity. And there was no I don't think there was any passengers. Even if, I still think we speak about defensive errors. I'm not going to call him out. There's one guy I really don't like, but I still don't think he was a passenger in the game. He made mistakes, but I don't think there was a single passenger. I think everyone stuck to the game plan. And also, I thought Carter Folk offensively we didn't really do much offensively, but I thought Carter Folk, when he needed to, was shit hot. And that was also without Soke.
Yeah. For me, what set the tone was, I think Belfast thought, one, they were going to come up here and just steamroller us.
Yeah.
But when they began to mix it, we mixed it back.
Yeah.
We didn't allow them to, for the want of better words, bully us. We were able to, we got in amongst them. Big Streaky got in amongst them. Carter got in amongst them. Everybody.
Big Streaky.
Everybody was getting in amongst them. Every single player was up for that fight. And probably the most complete team performance. And I just felt so bad for them. I was devastated for the guys that they did not get that extra point coming into overtime. They deserved it.
Yep. One thing I thought was fantastic to see was how pissed off Svensson was at the end of the game. Now, you didn't see it. He came over with his water bottle, took his drink, and then he absolutely launched it into the plexi in the player's box. Absolutely launched it. He was livid.
Yeah.
And it's the first time we've saw anything from, he's probably upset and pissed off he loses games or, all the time.
Yeah.
But it's the first sign of emotion that we've saw from him really caring that they lost that game, because he probably knows himself. We should have won that. We were dominant at times on them. But, it was a 1-point weekend. I said I'd be happy with a point. You were hoping for 2, whether it was 1-1 or 2 at home. I was happy with a point. I did have the league table on ready to bring up, but for some reason the StreamYard has deleted the picture, so we don't have a league table. But I know that we're an extra point ahead of Fife now.
We know where we are. Yeah.
But it brings us on to the Craig Niche Decorators sponsored game preview, and for me, it is 2 must-win games. What do you think?
I'm going to disagree.
I think it is.
I think for me, we must get a minimum of 3 points.
A minimum of 3, but I think both of them are must-win games. I think we need to beat Glasgow in regulation. If we are being more optimists, and I know you're not, I know you're very much the biggest pessimist ever. But if we are talking about us making playoffs, us finishing 8th, potentially 7th,
definitely, yes, we've got to win games like this.
We need to beat Clan in regulation, and we need to win our home game against Coventry.
Yeah.
I know Coventry are higher up in the standings. They are 5th, I think. Just went down from 4th into 5th from Belfast. But Coventry are no mugs this year. Danny Stewart always has a nitty-gritty team. But I think it is a must-win game. I really do. I think this is the point of the season where I actually think this weekend could be a make or break.
So, see for our games, right? There was a spell where we were playing the Belfasts, the Cardiffs, the Guildfords, the Sheffields.
Yeah.
Now we're in a wee batch of games
against us, against our lot.
The teams that are in and around us. And you're right. I would take the 2 points from the Coventry game.
Yep.
Just so I could say that we've seen them winning at him, and take the point on the road. However, I wouldn't be adverse if the 3 points came from an overtime or a penalty shootout loss against Coventry. And we took the 2 points from Glasgow.
Yeah, I honestly don't think we can afford to let Glasgow pick a point up against us.
Yeah,
because they've made a couple of signings now.
Yeah,
a couple of people have said they look cheap and cheerful and look like diddies.
yeah, they might well do.
But some other people, it's bodies. But some other people have also said that they've played in decent leagues as well.
Yeah.
So I think that we can't afford to give them any points on us in games against us. If they pick up points against other teams, okay, hats off them. But we can't give up points against them right now. So minimum of 3. But I'm saying it's 2 must-win games.
Yeah, and there'll be difficult games. There'll be difficult games. Coventry are obviously. This is a strange one for Coventry as usual, right? So they've got 3 games this weekend. So this is Thursday night. We're recording Thursday night. So they're playing in about half an hour's time, I think. Now we've overrun that much.
I thought they were playing Friday.
No, so they've got
Friday.
They're in Glasgow.
Right, it's on the
they're in Glasgow tonight.
7:30.
Is it 7:30? So they've got Glasgow tonight. Then they've got us, and then you think, so they've got a triple header against Fife, but they play Fife and Coventry.
I know.
Weirdos, absolute weirdos.
But the other
good
thing,
Coventry.
and they'll bring up a good support with them with the double header. I believe they've got a couple of buses on. But the other thing as well for us is we've got Saturday off. We play Friday, we have Saturday off, then we're in Glasgow on Sunday.
That's a good thing, I'm aware.
I think it is. I think we put backs to the wall, go all. I'm gonna use this term. We go balls out against Coventry on Friday. Then we have our day of rest with maybe an optional skate. I don't know what Jeff's got planned, if there's a skate or not. And then we go again Sunday. Balls out.
I thought you were going to come up like we were going to go all guns blazing.
Oh God, no!
Against Coventry.
Jesus.
Yeah. But
you can tell you're the dad here, eh?
Yeah. Tell us about it.
But minimum of 3 for me. But I think 2 must-win games.
I'm actually still in shock that you're the same age as Adam Morrison, which means I could be Adam Morrison's dad.
Aye, he's had a hard paper round, does he?
Stop it. It's ridiculous.
But a big thank you again to our special guest, Adam Morrison. As I tweeted the other day, I wasn't very cryptic. We do have some more interviews lined up. We're not going to say who it is. We don't actually know when it's going to be fair, anyway. We've not got dates of that yet from them, but we've got a good 3 or 4 players lined up.
Yeah, no, are we not recording on Monday? We'll not say who it is.
I think we're going to do a show on Monday and do our game previews and reviews. We'll see what happens. So I think we might record a Monday night for everyone. Just why not? Why not Monday? Yeah, why not? But again, thank you to Adam Morrison for coming on the show. I know, as he said, he's going to wait. He's away to go and do some stuff. So we appreciate his time. Again, massive thank you to title sponsor Don Michelle for sponsoring the show, the 51 Club, and Craig Niche Decorators, who, by the way, the two of them in little cahoots. And Craig doing the goals for him. Yeah, couldn't have fit me in his diary, but managed to get Cam McGiffin in his. But that's all right. I'll remember that. But
that's good. That's because Niche he's a puck money.
I had to give one person a shout out this week because I got called out on social media for not giving Sinky a shout out about putting my telly on the wall. Did you not see that on the supporters group?
Oh, no, sir.
They were going on about that they didn't realise that Kevin Conway was Scott Conway's dad. And I was like, well, it just goes to show that you don't listen to the podcast because we've called that out a couple of times.
Yeah.
And Sinky says, well, I I never got a shout out on your show, blah, 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 putting your telly up, blah, 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 blah. So there's Sinky shout out for putting the telly up, right? But on that note...
on that note, I've got a wee shout out for Sinky as well.
Oh.
Remember to be available for the microwave. That's what I'm going to say. Yeah.
Oh,
Sinky knows. Sinky knows.
Yeah, I know as well.
Exactly.
I know as well. Sinky. But yeah, so again, thanks to our guests, thanks to our sponsors. Again, big weekend of games. Let's bring the noise, and hopefully we've got a 4-point weekend to speak about on Monday.
And we'll see everybody at the rink tomorrow night with the Drummond Section C.
If it gets its way back over.
But again, its way back over.
Yeah. But again, let's bring the noise, and we will see you if you listen to this tomorrow. See you today, see you tonight, but we'll see you tomorrow at the game. It was a bit like what's it called?
Just press stop.
What's the film? What's the film called? The Truman Show. If I don't see you, have a good morning, good evening, good night. Right. Thanks for listening, folks. And we'll
see you at the rink.